And if the stock to flow model is correct, then we could see a 5 million. No, Fred, let's be realistic here. It's a $1 million on the stock to flow model, but a $5 million on the stock to flow X model. Exactly. You see, so you can't just say, you said in the title, you said $5 million Bitcoin. Who knows, maybe we'll get to a $5 million Bitcoin. Okay, so welcome back, everybody. I'm Crypto Man Ran. I'm here twice a day, 6 a.m. EST, giving you charts like this. Good charts, happy charts with my friend the Sniper.
Yo.
Sniper, you know who's on the show today? Rudo's on the show. We're going to be talking to Rudo today to find out why he's bearish when Sheldon's bullish, because we only like bull people on the show. We don't like bear people on the show. So we're going to find out from Rudo today why he is...
I'm jumping.
Why he's bearish. Also, Fred, what are you saying? Oh, we're giving away NFTs. Fred, I want to talk to you about this NFT thing. Because of all the NFTs you could have got us into, you get us into this stuff, bulls. I mean, I appreciate that you're bullish. I get it. We all want to be bullish. By the way, Waz, what do you think of my bull collection? This is like my collection of my NFT bulls, my Astro friends. Can you see? Which one do you like? Yeah, the one that's eaten away. That's a very special one. It's like the Easter egg, you know, when you eat the Easter egg. Anyway, we are giving away some Astro friends. Which numbers are there? Let's quickly look at the numbers again. Let's have a look here. We are giving away to you, our beautiful community. So if you're part of our community, what you need to do is you need to subscribe to the channel, because we are not giving these away to anyone who's not a subscriber to our channel. Once you've subscribed, you got to smash the like button, because if you don't smash the like button, then you can't bounce. No, you got to like, because that's the only way we know that's the only way that people are going to know that this content is out there. There's a lot of noise coming out of there. We are giving away Astro Friends number 9933. 9933, that's the Astro Friend that we're giving away this show. So if you want Astro Friend number 9933, you got to like, subscribe to the channel, and get in there. But Fred, let's talk about more important things. Instead of getting us into real NFTs, you're getting us into Astro Friends. When you could have got us into stoner cats, because remember that video that we showed you guys where Vitalik Buterin was in Alex Kutcher, in Ashton Kutcher's house? Remember, just play that video.
Hey, babe.
Oh, no.
What's an NFT?
Oof. A digital form of art or form of entertainment or a moment in time that one person can own.
Beautiful answer. Hey, Vitalik, what's an NFT?
An NFT is a non-fungible token, so it's a digital asset where there is only one copy of that asset on the entire blockchain. Now, NFTs can be used to represent many different kinds of things. They can be used to represent works of art. Sometimes they're used to represent conference tickets. They're used to represent ENS names, which is kind of like a digital name on the blockchain that you can have. So you can use NFTs to do lots of things.
I want to be Vitalik when I grow up.
What?
I want to be Vitalik when I grow up.
We all do.
So we all wondered what Vitalik was doing in Ashton Kutcher's house. And now we know what Vitalik is doing in Ashton Kutcher's house. Well, it's all around this NFT project called Stoner Cats. What is Stoner Cats? Well, it's an animated cat series, which is being hosted or narrated or acted in So what is it? It's an animated NFT show with real humans behind the cats. Who are the real humans behind the cats? Well, it is Vitalik Buterin, the gorgeous, my love, Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, Chris Rock, Jane Fonda. And it's an amazingly interesting experiment because the only people who can watch this are people that have the NFTs or have the NFT cat. So it looks like Vitalik is having some fun. It looks like he is, what's the word? He's stepping away from Ethereum or trying new things. I don't even have time to get stoned. Where does he have time to appear in a stoned cat commercial or stoned cat, what do you call it? Stoned cat series. Don't get it. I don't even have time to smoke a joint. And he's talking about thing. Yeah, he's waiting for ERP 1559. There is another article today, not really crypto related, but quite big, and that is that Tencent shares tumble as WeChat is removed from Chinese app stores. So Beijing has actually lost their minds. They're now removing WeChat, which is the biggest used chat app in China, from their app stores. China absolutely lost their minds. What else? We do have Rudo coming in to talk to us about why he's so bearish when actually Sheldon is bullish, right? Well, let's actually get Rudo on the stream because we need to find out. Rudo, are you bearish?
Not overly bearish, but I think some common sense says, yes, we're going to need to be bouncing some to the downside.
Okay, hold on. Sheldon, what do you think? Are we going to be bouncing to the downside or are we bouncing to the upside? Because you, Sheldon, you said clearly earlier today, we are bouncing to the upside. We're going to retrace to the buy zone, which we did. We bounced perfectly off Sheldon's box. So I think Sheldon's right.
It's only if we break the support will I ever have a bearish view. It's very, very simple. My strategy is simple. I can't change it. Until we break support, I can't say we're bearish at all. I'm bullish.
Okay, Rudo, what do you think?
Well, buddy, there's a few, like I say, I agree with Sheldon in a way, but I have to look at my broad spectrum analysis. And this bounce, I'm not happy with the bounce. You know, there's a few things that we need to maybe just have a look at before we just blindly say, hey, it's game on. We're going to go bullish again. So you've seen this chart now a couple of times. And the one thing that I always show.
Let's not get into the chart. We're going to come back to the chart.
I'm not do that later.
We're going to come back to the chart. All right. So Rudo is bouncing. He's also bearish. Sheldon is bouncing, but he's bullish. So we're going to get back to that later. What else is there today, Freddie? All right, let's get into the big story of the day. And that's, of course, the story that Amazon now publish the following. Well, at least CoinDesk published the following. And they say, Amazon, no, we have no plans to accept Bitcoin. The speculation has ensued around our specific plans for cryptocurrencies is not true. Why do you publish a job ad for something that is not true? So it could be a case of, let's say, notwithstanding our interest in the space, the speculation that has ensued around specific plans for cryptocurrencies is not true. Do that again. Notwithstanding our interest in the space, the speculation that has ensued around our specific plans for cryptocurrencies is not true. A spokesman for Amazon told CoinDesk by email. We remain focused on exploring what this could look like for customers shopping on Amazon. So to me, I think there are two things that could have happened here. The first thing that could have happened here is Amazon plans could have been leaked too soon. And perhaps they weren't expecting this big, when they advertised the job spec, when they're looking for a blockchain lead. Perhaps they didn't know that it would catch on like this and that their blockchain plans would be revealed. And now they're denying it, saying, you know, a very soft denial, saying, notwithstanding our interest in the space, the speculation that has ensued around our specific plans for cryptocurrencies, that is particularly not true. So it could have been a case of the news being leaked too soon for Amazon's liking, and you know they didn't want their competitors to know so soon, and now they're denying it, and they'll come back in the near future. The other thing that could have happened is it could have been market manipulation at its finest. Because when markets recover like this, whales can create stories and pay media channels. We're not a paid media channel. We did get it from a very good source though. And they could pay media channels to publish news. Now, when these news items are published, look at what happens. So I think Willy Woo was the one who actually showed it the best, right? Let's quickly go to Willy Woo's profile. I think that'll show it to us the best. I want to find, there we go. So what you can see is that when these short squeezes happen, the liquidations that happen happened something like this. The most liquidations that happened, there was $1.1 billion of liquidations, and the most liquidations that actually happened were on Amazon, were on Bybit. Then Huobi, then OKX, then Binance, then BitMEX, and so it goes down to Bitfinex. The more important thing is that if you look at the type of traders that are trading on each one of those exchanges, you can see that it is the newbies, the un-KYC people, the retail investor that actually gets liquidated. So 40% or 38% of the liquidations happen on Bybit, 20% happen on Huobi, 19% happen on OKX, and 10% happen on Binance, which means that about 90% of all the liquidations that happen on the retail exchanges. Whereas the more sophisticated traders, the whales, are trading on places like Bitfinex, Deribit, FTX, and BitMEX. And you can see that these market manipulations are designed to wreck the retail investor, to wreck the untrained, the inexperienced retail investor. So one of two things could have happened. Either it is a case of Amazon's plans being revealed too soon. We don't know exactly. We do know that they did advertise for a blockchain position, and we do have a source who's not often wrong that told us that Amazon does have plans. But if it's not, it could have been the whales paying huge amounts of money or paying small amounts of money to get media outlets to publish this and to drive fake narratives into the market. And then that fake narrative spreads on every single channel and drives the news, which causes the pump. Now, regardless of what it was, you can see that the retail hands are the ones that got liquidated the worst. The lesson here is that you shouldn't be playing in leverage. If you're playing in leverage, you're gambling. And we don't ever encourage people to gamble. It's why we never ever do Bybit links. We never ever shill futures exchanges or ever tell you guys to take leverage positions. In fact, we're against leverage positions. And the reason why we are against leverage positions is because of exactly this. This market is a small market in the big scheme of things. And to manipulate the crypto markets, you need a very small amount of money relative to the big scheme of things. And we said this before. We said when the banks get into crypto, it's par for the course for them to manipulate the markets. And this is the easiest market in the world for them to manipulate. To get crypto outlets to publish stories, simple, cheap, much cheaper than getting Forbes or big outlets, New York Times or Wall Street Journal to publish these articles. And when they catch on and every single channel starts talking about it, it could be huge market manipulation. And when the market manipulation happens, who gets liquidated? The noobs. You cannot trade against the whales. It's impossible to trade against the whales. So my opinion and Sheldon's opinion and Rudo's opinion and all of our opinions is stay away from the leverage. Stay away from the leverage. Just don't touch the leverage. That's gambling. We've told you that our investment philosophy is to invest in protocols that are going to change the world and then sit back and give them enough time to actually change the world. So time will tell whether this was market manipulation or whether this was leaked too soon. I do suspect it was leaked too soon because Amazon are advertising for that position. And the thesis that we told you yesterday about retailers accepting crypto over credit cards and being able to do that to double their profits actually still holds true. So regardless of whether it's happening now or later, it is going to happen because it's one way for retailers to dramatically upsize their margins. And when that happens, they make more money, they get more shareholder interest, and so on and so forth. But I mean, regardless of that, Freddie, do you think it was enough to get us into like a 2013, like double top market? Because in 2013, what happened to the market was in this bear cycle, very similar to this bear trend. And then the market shot up and broke trend and went into the next leg of the bull market. And the next leg of the 2013 bull market was absolutely wild. So the big question is that what actually happened with this bull pump? And more important for me is that the one model in crypto that has been the most accurate model in crypto, a model that even its founder, Plan B, started to doubt the validity of this model. Plan B questioned the validity of his own model. And if you look at what he said, let's have a look here. So he came out and he said, bounce or break. That is the question. And the reason why I said that was because the stock to flow model had deflected away, or the stock to flow model, the price of Bitcoin had deflected to its furthest point ever from the stock to flow model. You can see that the stock to flow model has never, ever, ever deflected so far away from where it was at the moment. But with this recent bounce, you can see that the deflection, the stock to flow deflection, has corrected. And so the stock to flow model still seems like it's in play. It was one of those like last minute corrections. Because if you look at this chart over here, the stock to flow model was about to break out of the range. And if it broke out of the range, it would render the stock to flow model inaccurate for the first time in its 10 years of history, or in the first time that in the 10 years that it's been tracking the Bitcoin price. But now, because of this pullback, it does look like the stock to flow model is still in play. And if the stock to flow model is still in play, then we could be looking at a $5 million Bitcoin. Yeah, that's what the founder Plan B says. He says that the stock to flow model has a $1 million Bitcoin prediction, but the stock to flow X model has a $5 million Bitcoin prediction. Let's listen to him about, for those of you who don't know what the stock to flow model is, let's listen to how he describes the stock to flow model.
Try to make a valuation model, just come up with one, a very simple one, and based on, well, ratios, metrics that I knew from the commodities investing world. So stock to flow ratio, the amount that's out there above ground for gold divided by the supply of gold, which is about 60. So the stock to flow ratio of gold is 60 years of production above ground. That is a very well-known measure to measure the scarcity, in fact, of a commodity. You can do it for platinum and palladium, silver, etc. So that was my first thing, but to look at, because I thought that the one thing that makes Bitcoin attractive for me as an investor at the time, and still, by the way, is its scarcity. The fact that there is only 21 million coins ever.
Okay, so the creator of the stock to flow model was on Scott Melker's show. And if you don't follow Scott Melker's show, go and follow the guy's channel. The guy is he's unbelievable. The guests that he gets are incredible. And he's just one of the finest guys in the space. But he interviewed Plan B, the creator of the stock to flow model. And he asked the creator of the stock to flow model, how accurate is the stock to flow model? How accurate has the stock to flow model been? We don't have many models in Bitcoin that have proven any kind of accuracy. But listen to what he said about the stock to flow model.
More accurate than I could ever dream, really, to be honest. Yeah. And I think maybe we take it too literally, because it could be way more off to make it still valid. Currently, it's tracking like a train. It's really unbelievable. But the most important thing that the stock to flow model is predicting is that mean, that average value after a halving, which is $100,000 for the stock to flow model and 288,000 for the stock to flow cross asset model. But it's really that jump to those levels and the 4 years after that halving that are, for me, the most important. So the fact that it's tracking like a clock right now, yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence either, but
It's pretty great. It really.
Okay, so on that interview, he said the stock to flow model was too accurate. But there was one point where Plan B was panicking, and he said, listen, it's make or break for my model. Either Bitcoin's price is going to bounce, or we have to render this model broken in question. Now, Bitcoin had this bounce. It was a huge bounce. Bitcoin bounced from 29,000 to 41,000. That is a massive short squeeze and a massive bounce. And in my mind, enough to break the trend and to put us into a 2013 type double bull market type scenario. According to Plan B, he says, and he said this on July 26, which was 2 days ago. What's the date today? Today. There you go. He said, to reconfirm, on-chain signal still indicates this bull market is far from over. 64K was not the top. This is in line with the stock to flow and the stock to flow X model, of course. And you can see that he's much more confident now that because Bitcoin bounced, we're now back in the realm of the stock to flow model being successful or accurate. And if the stock to flow model is successful or accurate, then we could be looking at a $1 million Bitcoin or a $5 million Bitcoin. That's not what I'm saying. It's what he's saying on Scott Melker's interview.
That's just this cycle, right? That's
Right.
maybe those that all-time high could be reached this year and the low the year after in 2022. But after that, there will be another halving in 2024. So 2025 and the years after that will be actually much more interesting than the next 2 years. And yes, the stock to flow models predict prices ranging from 1 million from the normal stock to flow model to 5 million for the stock to flow X model. So yeah, my eyes are, by the way, on those price levels more than on the 100 288.
So the most exciting thing for me is of this pump. I don't really care whether Amazon do or don't start accepting Bitcoin now, because they will. But the most exciting thing for me about this whole bull run is the fact that the stock to flow model is finally tracking back on the stock to flow model. And if the stock to flow model is currently tracking on the stock to flow model, then we can expect a $1 million to $5 million Bitcoin. And we haven't broken out of that range. So as we say, let's dance.
Get up.
Even Rudo's bouncing. Look at it. Even Rudo's bouncing. I wonder if Richard Hart's bouncing. Richard Hart's not on the screen yet, but Richard Hart is coming up here. He's coming. Hold on, are you bouncing? We can't hear you.
Sheldon, your ball's inflated too hard there, buddy.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yo. What's up?
Bounce for us. Let's bounce.
I actually bought a Banting baller.
Here we go.
Oh.
So, that is what I'm the most excited about. I'm excited about this pump. I'm not excited about a $40,000 Bitcoin. I'm excited about the fact that the stock to flow model still works. Also, based on that kind of feedback, is Raoul Paul's tweets. Now, Raoul Paul, love him, had a chat to him on Friday night. What an amazing guy. What a great guy. I mean, absolute gem of a guy in this industry. But what he says is, let's quickly look at it. He says, just an update of my favorite crypto charts. Here's the log chart parallel of BTC now versus BTC in 2013. Now, what he's saying is that if you compare the blue chart, which is 2012 and 2013, and you compare Bitcoin now, the charts are almost tracking identically. That's a word, right? Identically is a word. It's in English, yeah? Okay, so the charts are almost tracking identically. That just doesn't sound like a word. It sounds like a bad word. Like, what's identically? The charts are tracking each other identically. You can see that the patterns are exactly the same. We're going to talk to Rudo about this chart. But it does indicate that the big part of this bull market may actually still be to come if this holds true and we do emulate a 2013 type recovery. And here is the non-log version, pretty much a perfect from a contextualization type standpoint. If they are identical and we emulate a 2013 type scenario, then we could be looking at the next part of the bull run being absolutely parabolic. And if this is what happens, then I can guarantee you that Carl from the moon, who's coming onto our show Thursday, we said, or Wednesday, you know what he's going to say?
Exactly as I have been predicting.
Exactly as he has been predicting, he's going to say that the next leg of the bull run is going to be huge. So now let's look at ETH in 2017. So you compare the ETH 2017 chart and you overlay it against where ETH is today. And you can see that it's exactly the same identical chart. They're tracking identically, my new English word. And you can see that the next part of this bull run may actually even be way more exciting. So It also reassures us that everything is moving along just like Metcalfe's law, exactly as he has been predicting. Exactly as he has been predicting. So for me, the exciting part is that I think this market had two directions. It could have been a 2017, 2018 type scenario where we went down and down and down and down and down. Or we could have had a 2013 type scenario where instead of going down and down and down, we have a small bull correction, which does, and in 2013, it did feel absolutely terrible. That drop in 2013 was negative 80%. The market dropped by 80%. We had a 60% drop. And now it looks like it's tracking exactly the same. And we're much more in line with a 2013 type scenario. That's what I'm saying. Let's listen to what Bouncy Man is saying.
Yes, exactly. Identically as we were predicting. Looking at this, yes, Ran. I mean, I've got a theory around that 2013, micro bull run that we had there. And we ended off last week when we talked about the fact that every time when that happens in July of that year, we've got this nice run. So let's just quickly give quick background. My FIB that I'm using is the 1618 extension. And the argument is after every all-time high before that, we just come back and we test the 1618 extension. And that's normally in July. And then we have this run. Now, it happened the previous year and hopefully it will happen this year. So large time frame as an investor, I am bullish. And the theory that I want to run past you regarding this, Ran, is that if we all look at the Fibonacci sequence numbers, 1, 1, 3, 5, and then 8. So if we look at the way that these bull runs have been running past the halving, we find a couple of interesting figures. So in the 2012 building up to the 2013 run, we've got a prelim all-time high that ends up just over the 100 days, which is then subsequently followed with another one that's just over the 300-day mark. So there's your 1, 1 and your 3 in your Fibonacci sequence.
Just show me where on the chart are you looking? Okay.
So yeah, I've got my little fancy new drawing tool here. So looking at this area here, this is the all-time high or the halving level. So this was the first halving. And then from that date on, drawing a line past to that area until we got that prelim high. That took 130 days, 100 days. Let's round it down. And then from that point onwards, we tested that 1618 level. And remember, this is closing prices, not candles. There's wicks to that area there. And then we started creating that run. And this second test ended up in July. And then we ended up with a real all-time high for this halving, the first halving, which took us about 300 days. From that point onwards.
This is exactly what I'm seeing now.
Yes, it's exactly as I've been predicting. So when
exactly as I have been predicting.
Correct. So now when we move on, and this is where it gets interesting, and you move on to the second halving, and you start doing that same analysis. Remember now we had 1, we had 3, and there we had 5. Fibonacci numbers 1, 1, 3, 5. Then everybody's going to venture the guess over the next number. Remember now, there's the halving, there's the 1618 test, there's the all-time high, 500 days. So when we look at that now, we start.
Is it me or is Rudo's drawing delayed? So like
very, it's confusing me.
But we get what you're saying. It's very confusing because your drawing is delayed. You know, it's okay.
Is the scribbles delayed or the chart itself?
The scribbles when you're drawing.
Yeah,
I think everything
Okay,
actually.
well,
like we can see you talking, you're perfectly fine. I see it's just sometimes a little bit behind.
Well, let's have a look at that now. Can you see this and this squibble in check with me? Well, you won't know when I draw it. That's the question. Okay, but let's leave it. Let's leave it at that. We've got the third halving, and I mean, you guys can see it marked out on the chart. We've got the third halving that was the 11th of May, 2020, and then the question is now, and that I want to bring to you guys, if we look at where's 800 days from now, we're looking at about October 2022. So on that basis, that the log scale is running, and every time the all-time high uses the next Fibonacci sequence, as the adoption is growing, it means that the next growth figure realistically sounds fair to me to be around the 800-day mark. What do you guys think about that, Ran?
I get it. But then why this morning when we called you, you said you bearish, and Sheldon said he's bullish. And so we need to know, like now, this bounce. I get that by October 20,
cool.
we're all gonna be Brazilianaires. I know that. But
Brazilianaires. Let's quickly look at it.
In 2020, we're all gonna be Brazilianaires. But I want to know about today.
Why? Okay, so let's have a look at today. So when we look at this, and we look at the climatic events that you had the last week round, we had the same lows tested around these. Can you see? Maybe just switch off my video for a while. Let's see if it's my internet that's maybe a little bit slower.
No, we can't see your drawing.
Let me make a suggestion. Will you log off and log on? In the meantime, I'll quickly cover one quick story, and then we'll get back into the charts.
I can do that. Cheers, guys.
Yeah. Okay. So one other bullish indicator in this bull market. Remember I said to you, the one indicator that we all have to watch. What was it? Do you remember? Whoever guesses this right gets one NFT. So what is the one indicator that will tell us whether we are in a bull market or we are not in it, whether it's a bull market or not a bull market? I told you that everybody is looking at the wrong metric. There is only one metric that determines whether or not there is demand for Bitcoin and whether or not we're in a bull market or a bear market. What is that one metric? Oh, mention ow. Is that even a name? Okay, so mention ow, MTV, bro. You're right. The grayscale premium or discount. Look what happened to the grayscale discount. It went from minus 13%, minus 14% to minus 5.88%. Now, friends, this is why you need to listen to Uncle Run. Because Uncle Run said to you, do not buy Bitcoin. At 30,000, I said to you, do not buy Bitcoin. I said, go and buy GBTC. If you would have bought GBTC, not only would you have made the amount of money on Bitcoin, in other words, from 30,000 to 38,000, but you would have made an extra 10%, on the grayscale discount closing. Listen to Uncle Run. Uncle Run knows. I told you. We now also see there is demand from institutions and they are buying GBTC shares despite the unlock, and the premium has now gone down to 5.88%. I wouldn't be buying GBTC now. Now I would wait. Okay, you missed that trade. If you listen to Uncle Run, you would have known to buy it. You would have made an extra 10%, and then you would have been a Brazilianaire. But now you're not a Brazilianaire because you didn't listen to Uncle Run. You found all the reasons in the world why you couldn't buy GBTC. If you would have bought GBTC, you would have made 33% on your Bitcoin, and you would have made another 10% on the premium, which means you would have been an absolute gigantic Brazilianaire. You should have listened. Freddie, you should have listened. Okay, Rudo. Yeah. Okay,
right,
tell
buddy.
me, you're not. The GBTC premium is discount is back to normal. Institutions are buying again.
Yeah.
Say what you want. They're buying all this excess demand of GBTC. Sheldon says that he's positive. He's waiting for the bounce. But Rudo says he's negative.
Yeah, exactly. So we've now looked at a little bit of the background. I apologize for any of the delay. So let's just look at way better. Awesome. Right. So when we look at this chart now, and we looked at these climatic events.
Those are the three climatic events.
Yes. So those were your head shakers, buddy. So when we looked at those head shakers, we looked at the argument that we went down, created the automatic reaction. That's a low volume area. You know, the opposite, that what needs to happen when we get to this climatic, you need to get your knee jerk. And then from that point onwards, we started moving sideways. We changed the character of the market like we did over there. And we went into this lateral pattern. Now, the big question that I want to leave with you guys before we move over is that we've got the secondary test within the Wyckoff system that needs to prove to us if we can break the supply zone, this gray box that I've got marked up over here, and we can get above it. It's a sign of strength. Bull run on. If we don't break it and we stay below it, sign of weakness, bear market, baby. So the way that I'm going to look at that, and let's just bring back this chart and we look at this little yellow box that I've got here. Now I'm going to zoom into this and just nicely explain why I'm looking at this. So I've got the Binance one on here with all the liquidations and that major, you know, liquidated event. They're basically marked out there. And I want to point out a few things to you guys. So when I look at this lateral pattern, the way a Wyckoff works is once you've changed your character, which is over here, you move into your phase B, and that's actually when you sit on your hands and you try and analyze and see what the market's going to do and whether it wants to print, you know, whether it wants to continue to the upside or the downside. Now, mistakenly, everybody just wants to go and ramble on and say, right, Wyckoff pattern accumulation because we fell into a lateral pattern. But the way we need to look at it is we need to study the volume. So after the crazy settled, we went down to the low end of the range. Low end of the range, we've got high volume. So we had interest there to buy. When we got to the higher end of the range, we had low volume. We had very little interest to FOMO in. Everybody was still hurting from the dump down. So when we came back to the bottom again, we had a high volume sell-off, a climatic sell-off, which was substituted with even higher reasons for people to buy. Now, who bought this? The retail didn't buy it. Like you said earlier, the retail always get punished for this. So when we went back up, from that point onwards, we had the slow rain down and we had another buy opportunity, which was low volume, which cemented in the fact that the retail FOMOs, the fears out of the market, the path of least resistance at this stage now is going to be to the upside. Now, when we go to the upside, we need to see a consistent growth in volume in the same way that you get this climatic area, which we didn't have. We got this FOMO spike. When it's fast like this, guys, it does not last. We don't have any volume to support this. So my theory for this and why I'm short-term bearish based on this analysis, other than looking at the RSI, is that realistically, the whales have now bought the lows. They have seen that there's very little reason for people to get out. When it came back down to the bargain, the retail didn't want to get in, so they gave them a reason to get in. Now they are hurt. The shorts are out of the market. Now we need to get the longs in. They need to fill their bags. The way that they will do that is slowly bring the price back down into their desired range. Now, there's one or two things that can happen. We can have a sideways move like this, which is normally called an LPSY, and that will initiate the beginning of a phase C. Or we can have another shakeout event that maybe will take us to about 27, and that would be a terminal thrust in the bottom direction, and that will signify another way that the phase C can play out
in the bottom direction, because that will definitely take you to pre-climatic.
Yes.
No,
that's it. That's it.
No, you can't.
But then everybody that's got dirty fingers or smelly fingers at that stage is going to be institutions. The retails won't have any dirty fingers at that stage because they're going to be too shit scared to buy. And in the middle, if we go sideways, nobody's going to know what to do in any case. So both of these scenarios are designed to keep you guessing and to keep you out of the market. Once that happens, normally then we move into the phase D, when we create a trend within range, where we start making the higher highs and the higher lows. And that brings me back to this chart over here, where I start looking at then. Once that plays out, that's when my attention is going to move back to this chart, and I'm going to start looking at the secondary test. Because we all know that with a Wyckoff lateral pattern, the bottom end has got a high probability of becoming an accumulation pattern. That's a no-brainer. That's an easy thing to trade. But the reality is we need the accumulation to take effect for them to figure out whether we're going to have enough strength to continue, or whether we're gonna fall to the downside. So all eyes on this target over here.
You're saying you're not convinced. You're not saying you're bearish. You're just saying you're not convinced.
Not convinced just yet. That's not the move that generates a bull run. One big volume bar at the liquidation level does not give me a breakout, does not give me the initiation of a bull run. You can go through thousands of case study law case studies on this typical breakouts when we have them. What you
Sheldon's
have is you've got gradient. Pardon?
Sheldon's playing Splinterlands.
You're playing Splinterland.
He's sitting there
Come on,
playing
buddy.
I'm not
We've-
playing
we've got a-
Splinterlands.
We've got a bet there. He's going to buy one of those eggs on what's that other one?
You
I
know,
don't know yet.
What's that beastie with Lee, where he wants to buy an egg.
I want to
I
interrupt.
believe that it's going to be worth a lot of money, these things. I do.
I want to
But look at the
interrupt-
volume.
I want to interrupt you guys for a second. Just wait. Show us the volume, and I want to show you. I wanted to show you something else.
It's hard to zoom in on the volume, guys, but if you look at the volume there in any of these breakouts, you've got consistent growing volume. You don't have one out of nowhere. When you've got that little one volume bar out of nowhere, you have a reversal. More liquidity needs to get in. It's mechanics. You need the consistent buying, growing and growing and growing in order for a trend to continue. And for me at this stage, I'm just not trusting it. Bull trap for me at this stage. FOMO in, get punished, and then we go.
I say something else. I say, regardless of whether Bitcoin is having a good day or a bad day, the one sector that is absolutely exploding, and we've been saying it to you guys now for weeks, is this gaming sector. So look at this. Splinterlands up to 42 cents. My neighbor Alice up another 40% on the day, 1382.
Sure.
Axie Infinity has broken $50. It's at $52. Gala, 23. Avagotchi, which I spoke to you guys earlier, Ghost, 165. You can see that there is a massive explosion happening in these games. And the reason why there's an explosion happening in these games is because people are getting addicted to it. Sheldon is absolutely addicted to Splinterlands.
I'm just testing
I had
it
a
out.
little
It's a new
tutorial
game.
last
I'm just
night.
playing a bit.
I don't know.
Last night he gave me a tutorial. I don't know. I may be too old to click these games anymore. So I'm too grey for the games.
I must say, I think if you're not in video games, if you're not in NFT games, you're missing out on one of the biggest bull runs that we've seen in a long time. I think tomorrow.
But you know what, Ran? So many kids play games all the time and they sit and play the Xboxes. Why not get paid for it? It's cool that you can actually monetize. You can actually monetize these games, and I think that's
you're monetizing your time.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's pretty
exactly.
cool.
Exactly. You're monetizing entertainment. What you're doing is people are willing to pay millions and millions and millions of dollars to watch the Super Bowl. This is much more fun than the Super Bowl. You're actually playing yourself. You're doing it yourself. And the advertisers, well, there's no advertisers, but people are paying money. The attention is being paid to you, which is absolutely amazing. So tomorrow I'm going to release another gem. We did Splinterlands. We did Axie at $18. We told the guys to buy Axie at $18. It was like 3 days ago. Fred's looking here because he didn't listen. All the traders in the other room listened, and they all bought Axie at $18 because Uncle Ran said so. And now Axie's at $51. What do you say about that, Fred? Yeah, exactly. You know what we're going to play for Fred? For anybody who didn't listen and is avoiding video games because you don't understand it, we have one message for you. Splinterlands, My Neighbor Alice, Axie Infinity, TLM, Trillium, Fairyland. Well, what is Fairyland? We haven't spoken about Fairyland. We told the community about Fairyland at $2 and something. Let's have a look at Fairyland. Remember, we had them on the show. We did a little feature about them. Wow. My jaw dropped because I actually haven't been following this one. We told you. $2.30, $2.40. We told you to buy it. I'm going to tell you about another one tomorrow. The reason why I'm not telling you today is because I still want to buy it. And I know that if I tell you guys, you'll do your front running trick.
I see that Axie is absolutely exploding. It broke all-time high again. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, $51. Sheldon,
52 now. It's 52 now. It's crazy.
I wouldn't buy Axie right now. I think they're better.
No, don't buy my nose. Yeah, wait for the next
one. I'm going to give you one more buy, but tonight I'm going to take my position in it. Tomorrow I'm going to give it to you. So just so you know, I am buying it. I'm buying it today, and tomorrow I'm going to tell you what it is. And I think it's going to perform like the rest of them. So far, our calls have been good in the gaming space, right, Freddie? Good. Good, amazing. Alrighty, let's get into Q. We're going to do Q&A, but I just want to talk about two other quick stories. So I'm going to put you guys in the waiting room for 2 seconds, and then we're going to do a big Q&A with Ruda and Sheldon. Another important story in the news is the Tesla earnings. So yesterday, Tesla reported their earnings. The earnings were amazing for Tesla. Great earnings for Tesla, best earnings that they've ever published. But they were important for Bitcoin because remember I said to you guys that there is a law in the States that says that if a company buys Bitcoin and puts Bitcoin on their balance sheet, if the price of Bitcoin goes up, they don't do anything. It doesn't reflect in their earnings. It doesn't do anything. If the price of Bitcoin goes down, it hits their earnings. So what does that actually mean? Imagine you have a company that has Bitcoin, and imagine this company makes $100 worth of profit. So this a company that makes $100 worth of profit. Let's say on top of the $100 worth of profit they make from selling cars, they make another $100 because their Bitcoin went up in value. They don't declare that as income. The income they report to their shareholders is $100. If Bitcoin goes down by $100, their income becomes zero because they take the $100 that they made from selling cars and they subtract the loss because the American law says that if the price of Bitcoin goes down, you have to impair the asset. In other words, write down the asset on your balance sheet, which means that you reduce the value. So in the Tesla results, there was good news and bad news for Bitcoin. The good news is that Tesla hasn't actually sold any more Bitcoin. So you can see that Tesla still holds $1.3 billion worth of Bitcoin. We have that in a tweet that says, purchase of digital asset, $1.5 billion. Sale of digital asset, $272 million. Tesla still owns $1.3 billion worth of Bitcoin. The other good news is that they made $130 million profit by holding Bitcoin, which is a great model for other companies. If you do sell the Bitcoin, it does add to your bottom line. The bad news, because there is some bad news here. The bad news here is that now in Q2, because the price went from 64,000 to 30,000, which is lower than what they bought it for, and probably as a result of Elon's tweets, they had to write down their investment by $23 million. So that kind of means that whatever income they made, because the price of Bitcoin went down because of probably Elon's tweets, they had to write down their operating income, which means it affected them badly. The other bad news is that there was lots of volatility. So at one point, their $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin was valued at $2.48 billion. And now it's back down to $1.3 billion. So it's quite volatile. Very, 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 very volatile. Another good piece of NFT news is Shopify. Shopify have now integrated into the Flow blockchain, which means that they are now allowing their vendors, their merchants, to sell NFTs off the Flow blockchain quite easily, it's huge. I mean, it basically allows any store in the world to sell NFTs. Now, little birdie told me, not the same birdie that went to Amazon. That birdie is dead. We shot that birdie. Fred shot the bird. The other little birdie. You know what the problem was? I'll tell you what the problem was. That birdie that went to Amazon, it was somebody else's bird. But our birdie tells us that ShopX are also integrating their NFT system into Shopify. So Shopify are all in now on NFTs, and in particular, they have now integrated into Flow blockchain, and they have allowed they have allowed all their vendors, all their merchants to directly list and sell NFTs. Fred, you should do the show. You're so good at it, man. All right, I think that's it. Where's Richard Hart? You said Richard Hart is coming on. Richard Hart, I mean, guys, you got to see this. In this Pulse Chain sale, so far, $663 million has been raised in this Pulse Chain. Well, not raised. You can't say raised. You can only say sacrificed. So $663 million has been sacrificed in this Pulse Chain thing. That is insane. That's going to be like the second biggest crypto raise. EOS was the first one. EOS, the scam, was the first one. Who else has raised like $1 billion? Oh, Tezos also raised. Oh, he's here. Richard, how are you?
Late. Sorry about that.
You're late, but better late than never. And Richard, the watches aren't spinning. Can you switch the spin on? They have to spin.
Fix that.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Rich. I wanted to speak to you for like I wanted to love you long time, but I think now we can't love you long time. We have to we're here quickly. Not what do you say? What
you could just go over time.
Yeah, for a good time. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So, Rich, do you believe this Bitcoin bounce, or is this just like another relief bounce?
This is probably the bull trap I've been looking for, that I've been hoping for, you know? I mean, look, we haven't really broken any big horizontals yet. We just kind of broke the downtrend waterfall pattern. So maybe we can make higher highs, local higher highs. Cool. I'm cool with the bull trap, man. I like it. Still got your deficit on Grayscale. I mean, this is handy for people that are sacrificing, like you said, because they get larger USD values. So,
okay, what's the story here? Are we saying that so far $663 million, almost
it's more than that. So we also have got 25 million for charity at sens.org. We've got 10 million or 11 million in Bitcoin, 2 million in BNB, BSC, a million in Monero, a million in Litecoin, 775K in XRP, I think 1.6 million in EOS. I published all this on
$800 million raised so far for Pulse Chain.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You could probably say 650, 700, something like that, using the time weighted, like when it was sacrificed. But then if you want to just look at stables alone, I think there's 170 million in stable coins sitting in the sacrifice address. You can just look it up on Etherscan. It's really easy.
Remind me again, where does this sacrificed money go to?
Free speech. You're proving you think free speech is a protected human right, and the blockchains are speech. So you lose your money and it's gone. It's like throwing it out the window.
Okay,
but you might get some free Pulse tokens, so that's nice.
Okay, but where does the money go?
I don't know. Go look on the chain. I mean, it looks like everybody that sends coins there, they get dumped for stable. So, except Hex, for some reason, the Hex isn't getting dumped. It's just sitting there, getting held.
Hold on. Fred, are you getting the money?
Richard, I'm getting half the money.
Fred says
it's all public. Follow it on chain.
Wow. Alrighty. Guys, we've said it's not a scam because Richard, we said scam artists, what they do is they don't tell you what they're doing with the money, or they tell you they're doing one thing and they do something else. Richard didn't say that. Richard said he's launching Pulse Chain. When does Pulse Chain actually launch?
Well, the code's already out for the most part. If you go to github.com/pulsechaincom, and right now we're bootstrapping. We're using full archive nodes, which is 8 terabytes of data from Ethereum, and you have to massage it a little bit to fit into our modified Geth nodes, because we've improved the code and some of those improvements changed some things. So that massaging is occurring now. I think we can have public testnet up this week. And then when you see the public testnet, you'll be able to see the really, really cool stuff, like the validator rotation, the minimum time that you have to stay like locked to one validator so you can go to another one, which is a day. So that really cool logic is what you'll be able to see publicly, because we don't want people like trying to run their own public testnets with that code yet. We want to make sure that the authoritative R testnet is like the best testnet first. So we're just kind of fighting servers right now, and it's going good. It's going good.
Okay, so when do we get our tokens? I made a donation to charity.
Yep. So once the testnet is valuable for 2 things. 1, to make sure everything works well. 2, so that developers of front ends can build against that testnet, so that like hex.com, you're going to have Hex and Ethereum network. You're going to have Hex on the Pulse network, and that DApp needs to be able to see both. So that you have to just tell your DApp front end to point to another server and go, oh, that's where the data from that chain is. It would be nice if Etherscan would kind of integrate, but since they don't respond to emails, not everyone is as good at business as I am. We have our own block explorer that we've already got out there. It's a fork of one Ethereum Classic built. And so once you have enough, like minimum viable is a Uniswap front end, which is open source, great. A consensus network, which once the testnet is working, you have, and then a bridge to Ethereum, and that's it. That's your minimum viable. So if you've got trading and you've got trustless guarantee consensus network, and you've got a bridge to Ethereum that already has listings everywhere, that's your minimum viable launch. So as soon as we have those 3 components, which I think is very soon, we can go mainnet.
Okay.
So I mean, you could be looking at 45 days, 60 days, like
Cool,
comfortably. This isn't like, I mean, you could probably do it, and you could probably do it quicker if you wanted to, but you kind of want the front end guys for different projects to have time to build out their infrastructure so that when they launch, they're not having to play catch up later. You know, there's gonna be a lot of opportunity on this new chain, like an algorithmic stablecoin. If it's truly algorithmic and it doesn't use an oracle, well, what might that be worth on another chain? Is it going to still peg to the dollar? You know,
that's what we're going to see. That's what we're going to find out. Rich, we are running out of time, my friend. I'm going to get you back here. I wanted to talk to you a lot more about Pulse.
There's only 6 days left, man. There's only 6 days left, and only 3 of those days count for the volume ranking. So if you want to knock someone else out, you got to do it like really quick.
Wow, $1 billion basically. Incredible. That's a lot of Rolexes.
Well done.
Fred says, well done.
8-watch winder coming, so we're gonna have to fill it up.
You're gonna need a lot more than another 8-watch winder, my friend. We will speak to you soon. We got to cut the stream, guys. That's like $1 billion. Richard Hart does it again. Another $1 billion. Well done to him. Well done to him. Well done to him. Great idea. Fork Ethereum with all the ERC20 tokens, the chain and the state. Amazing. Good luck. Well done. And amazing to see that he's managed to get people to fund another $1 billion. And I guess people have seen what he's done with Hex. He has called the market right. And for those of you who are saying he's a scam, I've said to you before, scammers say that they're going to do one thing and they do something completely different. He is basically doing exactly what he said. Anyway, we did give away 9933. We've got to give away 9934. What do you think? We do it tomorrow. First show tomorrow. First show, early show tomorrow. Oh, God, there are super chats. There's lots of super chats. Ooh, we missed a whole lot of super chats. Okay, I promise you I will get to all the super. I saw there were a whole lot of super chats. We will get those super chats, but we have to leave you today. Are there more super chats? I feel bad.